Paid in full. Free yourself from the burden of debt and live your best life now. Second edition by Sanae Floyd, read by the author, Sanae Floyd. Introduction. The late, great Jim Rohn used to talk about the day that will change your life, a day that starts off like any other until something happens that alters the set of your sail. Rohn tells the story of the day he lied to a Girl Scout who was selling Girl Scout cookies. He didn't have the $2 to buy a box from her, so he told her that he'd had already bought a box and still had plenty of cookies left. After the Girl Scout thanked him and went on her way, Rohn was overcome with remorse and regret for the direction his life was heading. He was scraping by financially. He had mounting debts, a family to support, and not a lot to feel proud of himself about. The day he lied to the Girl Scout was the day he decided to turn his life around. I've had a number of those enough is enough days in my lifetime, as I'm sure you have too. Situations that jerked me out of a kind of waking slumber, always challenging at the time, and yet, looking back, always monumentally beautiful. The evidence of those life-changing moments are all wrapped up in my current wonderful life, with its abundance of love, friendships, my own business, fulfilling work, my health, and my close and loving family. The one area that has lurked in the background, that I spent years imagining I had a handle on when I really didn't, was my debt situation. I have been in credit card debt with an ever-growing balance for 23 years, and with a vice-like stranglehold, that debt was slowly bringing me to my knees. I didn't appreciate at the time quite how debilitating it was until I started to shine a spotlight on that corner of my life, and I saw how I was allowing it to completely diminish my capacity to experience joy. When I started this project to become paid in full and chronicle the journey, I was so full of shame and self-doubt. My self-worth was on the floor. I didn't realize quite how exhausted I was and how burdened I was by my debt until I started to scratch beneath the surface and see what was really going on. I was emotionally spent and spinning my wheels, believing I was doomed to a life of debt and dependency, feeling foolish with a bookshelf laden with books about wealth and money, and yet financially I was in a mess. I'd tried so many debt reduction strategies and repayment processes over the years. I'd get so far and then somehow wind up even deeper in debt than I was before. It was bewildering, just like those stories of dieters who lose so much weight and feel wonderful, only to pile it all back on again within a matter of months. I was confused, and my only conclusion was that I had no self-control. I guess too that I was waiting for some magic bullet that would someday blast my debt clear away. I didn't realize that I was truly stuck in a holding pattern of negative thoughts and beliefs, a persistent and insidious pattern that was building up and creating a burden that was weighing heavier and heavier with each passing year. At my turning point, I didn't even know the amount of debt I had accumulated because I was too scared to face it. I was in a state of denial. I knew it was bad, but up to then, I just felt too weak to face the reality of the mess I'd created. I honestly believed that if I knew the full extent, I would find it too overwhelming, and so I stuck my head in the sand and just hoped that my magic bullet, whatever that meant, was going to show up soon. I was deeply ashamed, and every negative meaning that could ever be applied to credit cards and debt was dominant in my beliefs. What felt even more devastating was how my debt situation was impacting my coaching business. It wasn't until I started this journey that I appreciated just how much my debt was affecting my ability to grow my business. As much as I believed I was showing up and being authentic, the truth is there was a huge part of me that remained in hiding. I had actually been playing so small. I felt ashamed and out of integrity because as a sales coach, I was helping my clients make money, and yet here I was deep in debt. I believed that I didn't have my shit together, and so I was constantly feeling like a fraud. Despite the amazing results my clients were getting, I held back and I hid so much of myself because I allowed my financial situation to define me. As a result, I was driving my beloved business into the ditch and sabotaging my best efforts, and I felt helpless to stop it.